Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem,
but it's certainly someone's problem.
Kelly, it's time to wake up now. We have to record.
I don't want to wake up, though.
Too bad.
I'm so tired.
I know you are.
I have to get up at 3:40 a.m. now.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. And then today, I wasn't allowed to sit down for 8 hours.
Yeah, that really sucks.
So on top of being absolutely exhausted, my back and my everything is killing me.
All of the things, yeah.
All of the things.
Yeah.
All of the things.
Probably doesn't help to say that I have off this week.
Nah, not too much, but you know.
Sorry.
I talked to a lot of people today at work. They were asking me about the podcast, and some of them were like, no way.
Yeah.
Like when I told the one girl that I have like haunted dolls in the house, she was like, in your house? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, why? And I'm like, when you hear haunted, do you think bad or evil? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's not the case.
Though some of them
are reported to be, but we haven't had any negative anything happening here.
Fuck you, Pearl.
Yeah.
Pearl is one of Kelly's evil, air quotes, haunted dolls, and you're not allowed to be nice to her. So
no, you're not allowed to like her at all.
Yeah,
or be
that's how she gets you. Well, I talked to a lot of people on Saturday at the protest that was, this was on June 14th. So for those, I know we're releasing this on, we're releasing this. This is our 4th of July episode.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that already. Well, happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th of July.
But anyway, on June 14th, I went to one of the protests and I was wearing my ghosty, carrying a pride flag, and it said, not my ghost, not my problem. It actually, everything was spelled right. There weren't any missing words.
That's a positive.
It is positive. And a lot of people saw the ghost holding the pride flag and complimented my shirt. And then I was like, oh, I have a podcast. So if any of you are listening who I met at the protest several weeks ago, welcome.
Welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Yes, we are. It was great meeting you.
I didn't meet you, but I'm glad Jen did.
Yes, I met you. Well, welcome to our scripted, unscripted banter. And I have something a little bit different for you today.
For me?
I do.
Okay.
So I have 2 truths and a lie.
About? Was it like for you? Because I know you pretty well.
No, ghost stuff.
Oh, okay. Ghost stuff. I was like, I don't know.
Hauntings, paranormal things.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to read all 3 of them, and then you can tell me which one you think is the lie.
All right.
Okay. There is a haunted forest in Romania called Hoa Baku, and I'm probably not saying that right, where electronics randomly die and people report losing time, like hours disappearing from their memories.
Okay.
The next one is, in the 1800s, grave robbers in New Orleans stole corpses to sell them as ghostly servants to rich families who believed they could command spirits.
All right.
And the last one, in the 1950s, a group of school children in Zimbabwe reported seeing a UFO land. They all drew eerily similar pictures of small beings with large black eyes.
The third one?
The third one is true. This was the Ariel school encounter in Zimbabwe, and it happened in 1994. Over 60 children claimed to have seen a craft land and communicated telepathically with the beings. Super eerie and very well documented.
Okay. What about the first one?
The first one is also true.
I was like, it's definitely either the first one or the third one.
So
apparently not.
Hoa Cubaxia, I don't know how to say the words, forest in Romania is super famous for its freaky time anomalies, weird lights, and tech malfunctions. It's called the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania.
Interesting.
Mhm. But there is no documented evidence that people bought ghost servants. But honestly, in New Orleans, it's kind of weird enough that it almost sounds believable,
Yeah, it
doesn't it?
does sound believable for New Orleans, yeah.
It does. And for rich people, that definitely sounds like something rich people
Yeah,
would
you're
do.
dead, you're still gonna be my servant,
Yeah.
bitch.
I don't care that you died. You've
Right.
been my house cleaner for 50 years. Get back here.
Yeah.
How do you pay a ghost to clean or be a servant?
I don't know, I guess certain spirits like different kinda offerings, right?
Yeah. What would you pay them with?
I don't just it would depend on what I knew about them when they were alive.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. If I'm a spirit, you can't pay me to work.
No?
No, I'm not working in my afterlife. I did that enough in the living.
It's been 3 long days, Jen.
3 long days. You're already done. You're already like, bitch, I ain't working when I die.
It's been 3 days.
Yep.
Yeah. Besides the 30 years of, managing a house and kids and husband and all
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But that's not actually working.
No. No,
No,
anybody could do it. It's
no,
easy
anybody
peasy.
could do it. Again, sarcasm. Sometimes I'm just afraid the sarcasm doesn't translate, and then someone's gonna quote us on the internet and be like, "They hate stay-at-home moms."
Yeah, but wouldn't they be, really shocked to find out that I did it for 30
Yeah,
years?
yeah, I know. So or no, I would get, "Jen hates stay-at-home moms. Jen's so mean to her best friend." Well, I am mean to you, but
You are mean to me, but it's not about the fact that I was a stay-at-home
no,
mom.
no. And if I wasn't mean to you, you would think something was wrong.
I would definitely think you stopped liking me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have to be mean to help ease her anxiety.
It's the truth.
It is. And same with me. If she isn't mean to me or doesn't insult me, then something's weird. She doesn't like me anymore.
Yeah. I only insult the ones I love.
Exactly. Well, today's episode, as I said, is going to be about 4th of July because
Yay!
tomorrow is Independence Day.
Tomorrow is, yes.
No,
No.
2 days from now is Independence
2
Day.
days from now is definitely Independence Day,
It's
yes.
definitely 2 days.
Mhm.
2 days from now. Every 4th of July, we celebrate with fireworks, parades, and patriotic pride. Yeah,
We do,
yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Mhm.
But what if some America's founding spirits never actually left? This week, we're trading barbecue for the battlefield and sparklers for seances as we dig into the haunted side of the American Revolution.
I wonder what they would think.
If they are still around, I do also wonder what they would currently be thinking about our current status.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
wonder too.
In the spirit of 1776, we're exploring the eerie echoes of America's birth, the lingering ghost of soldiers, statesmen, and civilians whose stories were forged in the fire and may still be playing out centuries later. These aren't just historical landmarks, they're haunted ones. So grab your EMF reader and a musket because we're heading deep into the haunted heart of the revolution.
I don't know where I put my musket.
I also lost my musket.
Damn.
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
my EMF reader is at home.
Mine's in the drawer over here,
Yeah.
but.
And I'm for those listening, I'm currently staying at my parents' place dog sitting, so that's why I'm not home.
She's surrounded by adorable puppies.
I am surrounded by adorable there's 3 of them. It's pretty great. It's a
Yeah.
great situation to be in. So our fun facts for today's episode is, did you know that the national anthem was inspired by a battle and beer?
I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
Everything's inspired by beer, right? The iconic Star Spangled Banner was penned by Francis Scott Key in 1814, but not in the traditional sense of sitting down and carefully crafting a song. Key was a lawyer and an amateur poet who had witnessed the British bombardment of Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. He was actually aboard a ship negotiating the release of an American prisoner when the battle raged. Now, that I did know because I learned that in school growing up in Baltimore, where it was written. And the Francis Scott Key Bridge, if anybody knows, that was the bridge that collapsed last year and is now wreaking havoc on this city and surrounding areas of Baltimore
Oh,
because
yeah,
traffic.
obviously, I knew that.
Yeah. As Key watched the battle, he was struck by the sight of the American flag still flying defiantly over the fort at dawn. The flag became the symbol of hope he had so vividly described in his poem, which he quickly scribbled down on the back of a letter. Some historians believe that Key was likely a little tipsy after celebrating with his fellow officers the night before, so it is possible that a little bit of beer or champagne helped fuel his creative processes.
I mean, what else is there to do while you're watching a battle unfold?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
If you're not a soldier, you gotta get drunk, right?
of course,
That's what I would have been doing,
of course.
and I wouldn't have then written the Star Spangled Banner afterwards.
Nah,
So, I
you
s
you probably woulda watched some Project Fear and then fell asleep on the
y
couch.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Also, did you know that America's most iconic national symbol, the bald eagle, wasn't actually the first choice for the nation's bird?
Yeah, it was the turkey vulture.
It I just saw turkey.
Was it a turkey? I thought it was a turkey vulture.
Now, my sources told me turkey, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But Benjamin Franklin was not a fan of the bald eagle as the national bird. Instead, he argued for the turkey or turkey vulture. I'm not sure. We'll have to fact check that,
Yeah.
calling it a more respectable and noble bird. Franklin believed the turkey was a creature more representative of the virtues of America, strong, courageous, and a good hearted symbol of the new nation.
And
I didn't
delicious.
and yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know turkeys or turkey vultures were known to be strong or courageous, but apparently Benjamin Franklin thought that they were.
Okay.
He famously described the bald eagle as a bird of bad moral character because it was often seen stealing food from other birds,
It's a bird.
which in Franklin's eyes didn't reflect the values of the young republic.
That's pretty funny because, after we came to the Americas and we shared a turkey with some Native Americans, we certainly did a lot of stealing of land and
Uh-huh.
lives and.
Yeah. But, that doesn't reflect the values. I wonder today if he would still think the bald eagle doesn't reflect our values. The last fact is that fireworks, as we all know, have always been synonymous with Independence Day celebrations in the United States. But did you know that this tradition began almost immediately after the Declaration of Independence was signed? In 1777, just 1 year after the colonies declared their independence from Britain, in the city of Philadelphia, which is the birthplace of the Declaration, they held the first major public firework display to commemorate the event. The celebration was not only a show of patriotic pride, but it also marked a year of victory and a hope for the new nation. The night sky above the city lit up with 13 fireworks, each one representing one of the original 13 colonies.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, never really thought about when fireworks started.
Yeah.
But I will just say, as a PSA, for anyone out there that is thinking about lighting fireworks off this year, please only do so on the evening of 4th of July during the time when fireworks are lit off. Because there are people with PTSD. There are other people that have dogs that get petrified. So, this is my PSA to everyone as someone who owns one of these dogs that gets petrified at fireworks. I prepare myself during 4th of July. I put up blankets over my windows, I turn on music, I put noise canceling headphones on my dog. I do everything I can to keep her calm. But when you light them off at random times when people aren't expecting it, it's very rude.
Do you have a prescription for gabapentin?
I don't. For
You
me or
should
for
call your
Ellie?
vet.
Oh.
Yeah, for Ellie, not for you. Also, don't shoot off fireworks because 'cause you'll blow your damn hand off, or
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
one of my good friends, her son has no vision in his eye because of a firework that somebody else set off
Uh-huh.
that went the wrong way, ricocheted off the ground directly into his eye.
Oh my god.
He almost lost the eye. They were able to save the eye, and they thought they might be able to restore vision. The leading doctor in the world happened to be at the hospital in Germany where he was.
Wow.
This wasn't 4th of July, these were New Year's Eve fireworks, but
Yeah,
they were unable to save the vision
that's insane.
in his eye.
But yeah, just be careful, everyone out there, and just be aware that just because they don't bother you, again, you if you're not a dog person, which if you're not, y fine. I'll try not to judge you too hard. But if
I'm
you're not a
judging.
dog
I'm
person,
judging.
think about all our veterans out there that have PTSD from being in combat, and loud noises like that can really set them off and put them in a bad place. So
Yeah,
just be aware of that. You can't be a patriot if you're gonna disrespect our veterans.
that's very true.
Well, I'm gonna get off my soapbox, and we're gonna get into the scary facts now.
Alright.
Okay, and we're still gonna talk about fireworks. Kinda you led me into this one, Kelly. Every year, thousands of people are injured in fireworks-related accidents around Independence Day. In 2023 alone, there were nearly 10,200 injuries treated in the US emergency rooms, according to Consumer Product Safety Commission. And about 73% of them occurred in the weeks surrounding July 4th. Hands, fingers, eyes, and faces were the most frequent.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one of the videos? I know multiple people have done it, where they put a firework in someone's butt crack and then light it off?
I unfortunately have. I also saw a video of a guy that was very intoxicated,
They usually are.
and he didn't have any fingers left on his hand, and he was bleeding everywhere, and he was just drinking and yelling, and everybody was like, "Dude, like,
Stop.
you're gonna
Come on,
bleed to
guys.
death," like,
Yeah.
and he was just like, "Yeah," because he
What?
was so drunk, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, all of our scary facts are about fireworks. Guys, I'm sorry, I researched this episode a few weeks
Yeah.
actually, probably over a month ago, so I forgot what all our
Look
facts
at
were.
Jen being on the ball.
I know, I was ahead of time. This is my last episode that I have researched, so I'm no
Oh,
longer ahead. But I'm off this week, so that's what I'm gonna do the rest of this week.
there you go.
The National Fire Protection Association reports that more fires are reported on July 4th than any other day of the year in the US. In fact, fireworks cause over 19,500 fires annually,
Wow,
including 1,1300 structure fires, 300 vehicle fires, and nearly 17,000 outdoor fires.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And back to my little PSA announcement earlier. For many combat veterans, the July 4th isn't a time of celebration, it's a trigger. The loud bangs and flashes of fireworks can cause flashbacks and panic attacks in veterans suffering from post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. For some, it's a night spent indoors with headphones or white noise to avoid the traumatic memories.
Yep, I
So,
know quite a few veterans. Most of them say, like you were saying before, they're okay on 4th of July because they know that they're coming and they
yeah,
are expecting it,
yeah,
and that it's a lot for a lot of them, it's the sudden out
right,
of nowhere, not at a time where you are expecting them,
exactly.
that goes off that can be a problem for them.
Yes. So just don't be rude. You guys get two days a year, 4th of July and New Year's Eve, where you can light off fireworks and you can do it on those days and it's acceptable because everyone that has issues, everyone that has pets that has issues, we do what we can to prepare for that.
Yep.
But doing it other times is just disrespectful. And I will die on this hill.
Yeah, and nobody that's planning on doing it is gonna do anything differently because we said
I
this, but
know, but
yeah.
maybe they didn't realize. You have some people out there that are just really oblivious.
Yeah, I guess.
Some, not many, but some. Anywho, I'm gonna get back down off my soapbox again. Just be
You just
nice
keep
to other
climbing back
people.
up on it, man.
I am, sorry. I'm very passionate about this topic, especially if they're doing it when after I've had a few drinks, then I get really passionate.
You
I'm
mean
really
mad?
angry. Yeah, mad, angry, upset, go into the leasing office and complain about my neighbors who are lighting fireworks off a week before 4th of July in the middle of the day.
From their balcony.
Fortunately, they weren't doing it on their balcony, but with the person that was doing it, it wouldn't have surprised me if they attempted it off their balcony, to be honest with you.
I think I might know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was there, I think, when you were here.
Yeah.
Really obnoxious guy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyone who lives in my apartment complex probably knows who I'm talking about.
If you live in Jen's apartment complex, chime in below.
Hey, some people listen that do live in my apartment complex because I talk
Okay,
about it all the
DM us,
time.
don't put it in the comments.
Yeah. Okay, before we dive into the hauntings, I am going to get into a brief history on the Revolutionary War. It is very brief. We are going to talk more about hauntings. It's not a very history heavy episode, but I do have to dive into it a little bit, okay? Cuz that's
Okay,
what we have to do. Let's rewind to the late 1700s, a time when tensions between American colonies and Great Britain were boiling over. The colonists were frustrated. They were being taxed heavily, controlled from across the ocean, and had no say in how things were run. The rallying cry: no taxation without representation. That frustration turned to fire. In 1773, patriots dumped tea into the Boston Harbor. And they dumped tea into the Boston Harbor because of tariffs.
they did.
They did.
That is a true fact about
That is
history.
a true fact. Their tea had tariffs and they didn't want to pay them. In 1775, the first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord, and the American Revolutionary War officially began. The colonies were now at war with the most powerful empire in the world. Here comes the general. Enter George Washington, a respected, reluctant leader appointed commander of the Continental Army. The army was outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, and outplanned.
This just gave you a reason to watch Hamilton again, didn't it?
Maybe a little bit. But it was fueled by a bold vision. In 1776, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, a radical document that laid out America's case for freedom. We hold these truths to be self evident, and it was adopted on July 4th, and thus begun a new chapter in history, or at least the hope of one.
Oh, what comes next? Lafayette?
Shut up. The war raged on. It wasn't glamorous. Just ask the soldiers who nearly froze to death at Valley Forge, but they endured. And in 1778, the Americans won a major victory at Saratoga, which helped France to join their side. Cue Lafayette. Behind the scenes, brilliant minds were shaping the fight, like Alexander Hamilton, who was writing nonstop like it was going out of style and rising through the ranks because he was not going to throw away his shot.
No, he was not.
Meanwhile, Aaron Burr was still waiting for it. Finally, in 1781, Washington and the French trapped the British General Cornwallis at Yorktown until the world turns upside down. He surrendered, and the war was essentially over. But here's where our story turns spectral. More than 25,000 American soldiers lost their lives in the war, many in brutal condition, many buried in haste, and their names and stories lost to time. The battlefields where they fought, the camps where they froze, and the halls where history was made, those places still stand. And according to some, so do the souls who never left. Because while the nation declared its independence, not every spirit moved on. Yeah, I had a great time with that one.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I wanted to see how many Hamilton references I could fit into a brief history.
That's great.
I had to make it entertaining, y'all.
Of course.
I
It's
do apologize for my poor singing. I do not pretend to be a good singer,
I also do not pretend to be a good singer.
but I will sing along to every single Hamilton song, so
I will sing along to any goddamn song I wanna sing along to.
exactly. The first haunting that we're gonna talk about is Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, this was constructed between 1732 and 1753 as the Pennsylvania State House. Independence Hall is renowned as the birthplace of the United States. It was within its walls that the Second Continental Congress convened, leading to the adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. Later, in 1787, the U.S. Constitution was debated and signed here. During the British occupation of Philadelphia in 1777 through 78, the building served various purposes, including as a jail and a hospital ward for American prisoners. While the specific reports of deaths within Independence Hall during the Revolutionary period are scarce, its use as a hospital and prison during the British occupation does suggest that there were most likely people who died here, just not recorded. Independence Hall is reputed to be one of Philadelphia's most haunted landmarks. Numerous accounts detail paranormal occurrences, such as visitors have reported sightings of a misty figure resembling Benjamin Franklin, particularly in the assembly room. These sightings are often accompanied by unexplained musty odors. Did Benjamin Franklin have an unexplained musty odor?
I don't know, but there is a guy that does tours there as Benjamin Franklin, dressed as Benjamin Franklin.
Well, does he come as a appear as a misty figure? Because 'Cause that'd be pretty cool if he did.
I'm not sure, I've never taken his tour.
Okay. I've never been to Philadelphia.
I don't know if I have either.
Yeah. I had tickets to go to a Pokemon Go event there in 2020, but canceled
Yeah,
because
2020
COVID.
happened.
Yeah.
Rebecca goes a couple times a year for a convention.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'd like to go. There's obviously a lot of great places. I mean, we were close to Philly for
We're
Paracon.
kinda, sorta yeah, we were suburb of Philadelphia where we
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, but it wasn't technically Philadelphia. I mean, we may have driven through it, but
We
I
were
don't
we
count
had
that.
far too much to do
Yeah. No.
to go anywhere else other than where we went.
Right, but maybe one day we do another trip down, investigate actually do an overnight investigation at Penhurst, and then swing by Philly and see if
Eastern
there's any
State,
places there. Yeah, Eastern states that way,
yeah.
and then again, I don't know if they let you do any investigations of any of the other places in Philly, but we could always check it out.
Yeah. I
Long
think the
weekend of
main problem we're
investigation.
gonna run into is that these places are usually only open on the weekends.
Yeah,
So we'll just have a whole week to, I don't know,
yeah.
sit by a pool somewhere maybe,
I'm cool with that. You know me, I like pools.
go in the fall, do some spooky
Yeah,
things.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Other guests also have claimed to see apparitions of other founding figures, including Benedict Arnold, wandering the halls. And people have reported cold spots, feelings of unease, and sightings of figures watching from the staircases.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Could you pick Benedict Arnold out of a lineup?
No,
Neither could I.
neither. I don't know if I could pick Benjamin Franklin out of a lineup, to
I
be
think
honest.
you probably could. I think you probably could get Benjamin Franklin.
Depends. Is he in a lineup with like people from today, or is he in a lineup of other people that look like him from his time?
Other people from his time, but I think you'd be able to pick him
I
out.
might. I might. Despite these tales, the National Park Service does not officially acknowledge that there is any paranormal activity at Independence Hall, and no ghost tours are conducted within the building.
I mean, that makes sense.
I guess, but I mean, I don't think the National Park Service recognizes that the fort here is haunted, but it most definitely is. The fort in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Then there is Fort Mifflin, also in Philly. Now, Fort Mifflin is originally known as Fort Island Battery and was commissioned in 1771 and constructed on Mud Island, which is now part of the mainland, along the Delaware River. During the American Revolutionary War, it played a pivotal role in the defense of Philadelphia. In the autumn of 1777, a garrison of approximately 400 American soldiers valiantly defended the fort against a massive British assault. Despite being heavily outnumbered and subjected to relentless bombardment, the defenders held out for several weeks, delaying British forces and allowing General George Washington's army to regroup at Valley Forge. The fort was crucial in preventing the British from using the Delaware River to supply their troops in Philadelphia. The siege of Fort Mifflin was one of the most intense bombardments in the Revolutionary War. Out of approximately 450 men who were stationed at the fort, about 250 of them were killed or wounded during the siege. The heavy casualties and the fort's subsequent abandonment on November 15th, 1777, underscored the brutal nature of the conflict at this site. That is a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
Fort Mifflin is widely regarded as one of the most haunted sites in the United States, with numerous reports of paranormal activity. First, there is the Screaming Woman. Visitors and staff have reported hearing the harrowing screams of a woman, believed to be the spirit of Elizabeth Pratt, who allegedly took her own life after the death of her daughter.
I mean, I would scream if my daughter died.
I would too. Then there is the Faceless Man, which
Oh, that
sounds
doesn't sound good at all. I'm not a fan of that.
no, no. A ghostly figure lacking facial features has been seen roaming the fort. Some believe this apparition is the spirit of William H. Howe, a Union soldier executed at the fort during the Civil War under controversial circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds scary. I don't like that.
Nope.
Then there are just numerous accounts of shadowy figures, phantom footsteps, disembodied voices throughout the fort's grounds, all the usual reported hauntings,
Yep. Typical stuff.
and a lot of residual sounds. Visitors have reported hearing the sounds of cannon fire, musket shots, and soldiers' cries, believed to be the residual energy from the fort's violent past. Now, could you pick out a musket shot? Because
Mm.
I don't know if I could.
Nope. Not at all.
These hauntings have made Fort Mifflin a popular destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. The fort does offer regular ghost tours and has been featured in various media exploring haunted locations.
Oh, okay.
So we can go there. We'll add that to our list.
Sure.
Yeah.
How are you keeping track of this list?
No.
Oh, damn. You know what? I could simplify it for us.
All haunted places
All
we want to
haunted
go to?
locations across the globe.
Yeah. All of them. All of them are on the list.
Yeah. I wonder if they ghost in space.
Oh,
How
I
would they
don't
get there?
know.
Could they go there?
Well, what about astronauts who have died in space?
How
I'm
many
sure
astronauts have died in space?
I don't know. There's maybe some.
I don't know.
Has anyone died in space?
I don't know.
Okay, well, one of us has to research it and report back next
That's gonna be
episode.
you, not me.
Damn it. I'll try to remember. It might not be next episode because I probably won't be editing this episode for a while, and that's when I remember. But
Yeah.
in a few episodes, I hope to come back to you with research about astronauts who have died in space.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, next location before we get off on a tangent about ghost in space,
Which we will.
which we very easily could, is the Battlefield of Saratoga, and this is in Stillwater, New York. The battles of Saratoga, comprising of the engagements at Freeman's Farm on September 19th, 1777, and Bemis, I don't know, one of those two, Heights, or neither of them, it's very possible, on October 7th, 1777, were pivotal in the American Revolutionary War. These battles marked a decisive American victory over British forces, led by General John Burgoyne. The triumph persuaded France to enter the war as an American ally, providing crucial military assistance and turning the tide in favor of the colonies. The battles were marked by significant casualties on both sides. American forces, fatalities, and the intensity of the conflict conflict contributed to the area's haunted reputation. The Saratoga National Historical Park, encompassing the battlefield, is reputed to be haunted with numerous reports of paranormal activity. Visitors have reported sightings of ghostly figures in Revolutionary War attire.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. One account describes a man in a tricorn hat who approached a woman, claimed he was killed by his own men, and then vanished.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That is interesting. That would be a fun thing to actually talk to a ghost.
Yeah.
I wanna talk to a ghost.
Like, actually seeing the ghost in
Yes.
front of you,
Yes,
speaking words to you would be
and then disappearing in front
yeah,
of my
that'd
eyes.
be pretty cool.
Yeah, that I feel like's the holy grail.
Yep.
For more than, like, a half a second, because I have seen an apparition, but only for, like, a half a second.
But it didn't talk to you.
It didn't talk to me. I don't know what it would have said.
Probably like, "What the hell are you doing in the bathroom?"
"I wanna watch you pee, Jen." Yeah,
You never know.
maybe. There have been reports of phantom drum beats, musket fire, and the sounds of horses galloping, despite no reenactments taking place at that time.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they've also reported strange green lights, disembodied voices, and sightings of uniformed soldiers in the park and along the nearby roads.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Now I'm wondering if there's like both like British and American soldiers, kind of like a Ghost situation, the
Yeah,
TV show Ghost, where
yeah,
they are actually gay and fall in love and
that'd be
then
great.
don't love each other anymore. Yeah, I want that.
I wonder if
That's
they like, if there were, like, in reality, both sides, like, I wonder if they still fight. Like, I always wonder that about Gettysburg.
yeah,
Like, you have Union and Confederate soldiers, like, if they're still there, like, kind of, you know,
fighting each other.
if they're still fighting each other or if they're like, "So you're dead too? Yeah, okay, cool."
Cool.
You know?
Let's let's go watch this guy drink a beer since we can't do it anymore. And then there is Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow in
Ah,
New York. Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow are located along the Hudson River in Westchester County, and they played pivotal roles during the American Revolutionary War. The region was part of neutral ground, which was a contested area between British controlled New York City and the American held territories to the north. This made it a hotspot for skirmishes, espionage, and guerrilla warfare. One of the most significant events was the capture of British Major John Andre on September 23rd, 1780, by three local militiamen, John Paulding, Isaac Van Wart, and David Williams, in Tarrytown. Andre was carrying papers that revealed Benedict Arnold's plan to surrender West Point to the British. His capture exposed the
treason?
treason,
Treason.
exposed the treason and altered the course of the war. Additionally, on July 15th, 1781, Tarrytown was the site of the first combined combat operation between French and American forces, known as the Action of Tarrytown. Given its strategic importance, the area witnessed numerous skirmishes and battles leading to casualties on both sides. While the exact numbers are hard to determine, the region's turbulent wartime history suggests that many soldiers and civilians lost their lives here. Now, Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow are renowned for their rich tapestry of ghost stories and legends, and many of them are rooted in the Revolutionary era. Popularized by Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, this spectator is believed to be the ghost of a Hessian soldier decapitated by a cannonball during the war. I did not realize the Headless Horseman was based off of a actual person.
Neither did I.
So we'll learn something new every day.
Yes, we do.
Then there is Patriots Park, which is located between Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow. This park is where Major Andre was captured. Visitors have reported sightings of apparitions and unexplained phenomena,
Phenomena.
do 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 do, possibly linked to the area's wartime past. Then there is Raven Rock, a cliff in Rockefeller State Park Preserve, and it is associated with the legend of a woman who died in a snowstorm and whose wails are said to be heard during the winter nights.
Lots of wailing women in ghost stories.
Yeah.
I mean, women didn't have a lot of rights back then, so
Yeah, I would probably be wailing too.
yeah, lots of reasons to wail.
We don't have that many rights nowadays either. Then there is Huldah the Witch. A local legend speaks of Huldah, a woman accused of witchcraft during the Revolutionary War. She reportedly aided American forces with her herbal remedies and was ostracized and later killed. Her spirit is said to linger in the area.
Oh,
She sounds like a badass bitch.
I hope she's hexing men.
I hope so too. Please, please, let's go wherever that is and find her.
Yes, I'm in.
Then there is Fort Ticonderoga. Originally constructed by the French between 1755 and 1757 and named Fort Carlin, Fort Ticonderoga occupies a strategic position at the confluence of Lake George and Lake Champlain. During the American Revolutionary War, it gained prominence when, on May 10th, 1775, American forces led by Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold captured the fort from the British. Yes, Kelly, is there a reason you're raising your
Yeah,
hand?
what was that word you used at the point of what? The
Uh,
position something with the lakes?
Confluence?
Yeah, what's that mean?
It's basically where two rivers meet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. This victory provided the Continental Army with much needed artillery, which was later transported to Boston by Colonel Henry Knox and used to fortify Dorchester Heights, contributing to the British evacuation of Boston. Throughout its history, the fort was the site of numerous military engagements, including during the French and Indian War and the American Revolution. While the exact casualty numbers are difficult to determine, the fort's strategic importance meant it saw significant combat and associated fatalities. Additionally, disease was a common cause of death among soldiers stationed here. It is reported to be one of the most haunted sites in the region, with various paranormal activity reported. Visitors report having seen ghostly figures in period military attire, particularly in the barracks and along the fort's walls.
Oh.
There is another weeping woman that is here. This is the legend of a young Native American woman who leapt to her death from the fort's walls in the 1750s to avoid an unwanted marriage. Her spirit is said to wander the grounds, and her cries are reportedly heard during quiet nights.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, understand. No one tells me who I can marry.
Or who you have to marry, yeah.
Yeah. And there's also accounts of disembodied voices, footsteps, and other unexplained noises within the fort, especially at night. And the last place we are going to discuss is the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon in Charleston, South Carolina.
Hmm.
Now, this was constructed between 1767 and 1771. The Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon is a prominent Gregorian-style building located in East Bay and Broad Street in Charleston. Throughout its history, it has served various civic functions, including as a custom house, public market, meeting place, and a jail. It's been a lot of different things,
Yeah.
multi use. During the American Revolutionary War, after the British captured Charleston in 1780, the building was repurposed as a military prison, housing prisoners of war and those accused of treason. Notably, in 1788, it was the site of South Carolina's convention to ratify the U.S. Constitution. In 1791, President George Washington, here comes the general, was welcomed here during his visit to the city. I have Hamilton on my mind because they had just done the 10-year anniversary and they were on the Tonys. So
Yeah.
I've been seeing all those clips on Instagram as I'm doom scrolling through the day.
Yeah, it would've been great for if they just would've performed the whole that should have been the Tony show. It's
Yeah,
just
just Hamilton,
one more
2
run of
hours.
Hamilton.
Yeah, one more
Hamilton.
full run. Yeah, 10 out of 10. But that little melody thing that they put together was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I just keep seeing clips of it on Instagram, so while specific numbers are challenging to ascertain, the Provost Dungeon is known to have held numerous prisoners under harsh conditions during the British occupation. One notable prisoner was Isaac Hayne, a South Carolinian executed by the British in 1781 for treason, an event that stirred significant outrage among American colonists. The Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon is reputed to be one of Charleston's most haunted locations and has various reports of paranormal activities. Visitors have reported sightings of shadowy figures and apparitions within the dungeon's confines. There have been accounts of disembodied voices, footsteps, and other unexplained noises through the buildings. And some individuals have experienced sudden drops in temperatures and feelings of unease or being watched while touring the dungeon.
That
I've
sounds
actually
cool.
never, yeah, I've never heard of this place. I would love to go investigate.
Yeah, dungeons are cool.
Hmm. Not as cool as bow ties, but
True. Or
true.
fezzes.
Or fezzes, yeah. Or Stetsons.
Stetsons, yeah.
Yeah, something else that's really cool. If you know, you know.
Yep.
And that brings us to the end of this episode about the haunted side of the American Revolution. From the echoes of soldiers on the battlefields to the spirits that still linger in historic halls, it's clear that not every soul got the memo about independence.
If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
And go follow us on Instagram at Not My Ghost Podcast and on Facebook at Not My Ghost, Not My Problem. We will have pictures of all of these sites. I think all of them. I think I found pictures of all of them on our social media. So go look, check them out if you want to see them.
Yeah.
And we also post other stuff. So go follow us if you're not already.
If you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/notmyghostnotmyproblem. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters. We do. It's true.
Yeah, they're great. Go do it because we're about to send out our stickers to our current Patreon donors, and they are going to get, or by now, maybe they've already gotten, I don't know. Depends how quickly I get the stickers. They're supposed to be in my mailbox. I just haven't gone over and gotten them yet.
How long have they been there?
Like just like a day. I think they were delivered
Oh,
yesterday.
okay.
So hopefully there's no mistakes on them like the
Yeah.
last batch.
If you have ever had a spine-tingling paranormal encounter, share
Katie,
your Huh?
Katie.
Oh, I thought you said any? And I was like, "Any?" Yeah, any of them. Any of them. Give them
No,
to
I was
us.
calling out Katie, but yeah, really any of them as well.
Any of them.
Yeah,
And Katie, come on, man.
Katie
Katie, send that email in to notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com,
and everyone else.
and we would love to read it on an upcoming Paranormal Postcards episode.
Yeah.
Katie,
Katie, and everyone else.
and everyone else.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on this haunting exploration of the eerie echoes of the American Revolution. Remember, as you wander through historic battlefields and haunted halls, keep this in mind.
If it's not your ghost,
It's not your problem.
until next time, stay spooky.
And stay skeptical.